Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay. Beloved brothers and sisters, I'm Giaya Ariati, and I am of sound heart and sound mind. If this is one of your first transmissions with me, please be aware that the information that I bring through is of the higher frequencies from beyond the 12th dimension, and so that this can bring in spontaneous kundalini awakenings, realignments of your cellular structure, as well as DNA upgrades or prophetic visions. You may activate your own archetypal energies and remembrance. And my request is that as you jump into this space and into this receiving, that you please ground yourself, breathe in. This is a live transmission on YouTube. I don't normally do them live. I normally do them live on my Facebook. So if you are visiting for the first time, welcome. This is going to be a very important insight for all of the bringers of change, the 144, the beings that are here on borrowed time is the words that are wanting to come through, and the importance of understanding this. So if you have been on this journey for quite some time, you would have started to recognize the awareness of the messages that have been, this is, you need to get on this timeline, you need to get on this train because there ain't another train coming kind of messages. The messages of the importance of the choice points, the messages of the importance of lining up to your highest path, the message of the intensity of where you're going and the consequential actions of when we get lost in our story, our ego, and our separation consciousness. Now, this has been happening since the last Lionsgate portal. There was a big shift, and we are in a cycle at the moment of completing. So it's a year cycle of completing the 42,000 years of the Earth's beginning to this point where we are at the tipping point of consciousness to bring in the new Earth. And what a beautiful, glorious time it is to be here and to be in service and to be receiving these frequencies and informations if you remember, if you know why you're here, and if you are choosing from your soul's path and from your energy blueprints. If you have forgotten, you're stuck in amnesia consciousness, you are stuck in a place of distortion, you are getting lost in the 7 deadly sins of the human experience, then you may not find that you have been meeting this last period of time with as much ease and grace as what is possible, because you are being guided to choose. And so in the last 24 hours, we had a choice point for the collective bringers of change, or the 144, which is a DNA strand, not a number of how many of us. And so that that choice point that came up was a choice point of creation or destruction. And so we had a point that was there around, are you going to choose creation or are you going to choose destruction? And it is when we look at the zoomed out, how is the earth going to evolve? Because the earth's evolving. She is shifting, moving, the poles are flipping, it is happening, the chakras are realigning, they are recalibrating, and that is going to create mass change in the earth's physicality. And so what happens is that as that earth shifts, the way it shifts and how that realigns is really up to the collective energy and the individuals that are choosing. So what we choose to restructure in our own physical matter shifts the chakra systems of the earth. Now, the challenge is that if you're choosing your shift of evolution on a personal level through destruction, or through what some of us in the personal development industry or coaching industry call the Mack truck events, these moments of extreme contrast, extreme hits of like, I'm hitting the brick wall so that I have to crumble and the tower falls and every part of me is destroyed through the illusion of my mind. That you have that as a choice point, or we choose through conscious choice that I don't actually want to learn through pain and suffering. I no longer want to choose through that point of severance of self, and I'm actually going to align up to my true center. I'm not going to up, down, dip, and move through this peaks and falls, rises and separation. I'm going to choose the middle way of unity, union, oneness. And yes, I do tether. And yes, I step off my path. And yes, I get distracted, but I step back on and I step back on and I step back on. Now, so this choice point that came up was that are we stepping back on to walk towards to creation? Are we going to keep consistently moving through, or are we going to choose the path of dissension and separation? And so, for the bringers of change, this is being. If you are watching this, you are most likely in a point of choosing and have chosen some level of creation at your level of perspective consciousness, because the ones that haven't are in a bit of a whirlwind. And that is this what is being brought forward to share with you and the importance of this. If you have chosen creation, if you have chosen your highest path, if you are choosing to be here now, if you are choosing at whatever point you are in your own experience to navigate through this journey, you may be tethering, but you've chosen. So on some level, you're consciously chosen. I'm choosing my path. I'm choosing my mission. I'm doing this, and even if your life is a bit turbulent, you're not actually hitting the pits of separation to the point of what you would consider, I guess, a death point or a deconstruction of complete reality point. Now, because the bringers of change are here on assignment. We are here specifically for mission. We are not here to dance and play in Earth School. Some of us are here to be of assistance and evolution, but we're not here to be a human being. We are here with a very specific role. Most of us are playing in the human reality. Some of us have awakened. Some of us are living on purpose. But what is taking place at whatever level of consciousness is that that choice to be here for why you came here is being provided. Because as we shift, the point of awareness is that if you're not choosing to come here as to why you came here, your cosmic mission, your soul's knowing, your sacred heart's desire, at whatever level of ability to remember you have, then you are going to lose your position. You will lose your role, and you will, at some point, be exiting. Now, I know this sounds drastic and I know this sounds really dramatic, but there is no space in the collective bringers of change for people that are not choosing, that are not disciplined for the path forward, because we cannot bring in this new 5-dimensional reality into the earth without the solid structure and the foundation of why we came. These new modalities, these new business opportunities, these new ways of creating schooling, medical expressions, parliamentary houses. We can't continue as we are. It is not possible. And so the individual beings that are not choosing at this moment have actually been placed into a place of forced choice. And why is forced choice something that can happen through sovereignty and through universal law and still meet these structures of this universe? And the reason for that is when you have amnesia, when you have forgotten who you are, when you are living in separation consciousness, ego consciousness, you don't have free will. So you have lost your free will in the very programming, the infiltration, the subliminal expressions of this reality, the different narratives, the confusion templates, the aspects that are riddled within every single being here that have to go through a purification process to reclaim who your essence is, your remembrance, and your soul. And so, what happens is if you don't have access to who you are, you don't know who you are, you don't know how to connect to your center, you don't know how to be present within your being, you are not sovereign. And so, you don't actually have sovereign choice. How can a being that is not sovereign and doesn't know oneself, even to a point of how do I connect to my true authentic expression or my guidance? choose from sovereignty. They cannot. And so when you are in tethering or in extreme separation, you lose your choice. And so, as an assistance, what is taking place from the Council of One and from other objective agendas is okay, we need to go in and help. And this is where we get influenced by extraterrestrials or other beings, is that when you don't have conscious awareness, when you are not choosing from sovereignty, you are at the effect of trickery. Now, we talk about trickery in lots of ways of the anti consciousness agenda. We talk about trickery in the way of the Draco reptilians and how they trick you into giving up your free will, giving up your essence, your abilities. There's contracts made. There's all kinds of things that take place because you're not sovereign in your choice and you don't know and understand universal law. You don't understand what is taking place and you end up in all of the fuckery. Oh, yeah, I could say that because it was true. I've been trying so hard to say that word and not get in trouble. So you start to receive this. You start to end up in this place of being controlled in your lack of knowing, your lack of awareness. And so what happens is that in this reality, you have all different lenses of what we can use. So we can use AI to our benefit to create more unity. We can use the ego to create more separation, or we can use the ego, knowing the ego, learning the ego, and to create more connection. We can get out of the ego by actually manipulating our own ego. We can use a different lot of information to manipulate the situation. And so manipulation is neither bad nor good. It's how it's used and its intention. Because when you are not sovereign, you don't have the ability to choose from a place of that consciousness. So what is taking place is effectively the manipulation of universal law in this point in time. And what's being created from this choice point is actually a portal of energy that is coming from the 12th dimension that has anchored in to the underworld of a one dimensional to consciousness. And there is a portal that's opened that has been created for specifically the vibrational frequency of the 144 and beyond. And so this portal does not affect human beings and human consciousness. They don't have the capacity to receive this frequency. They don't have the receptors in their physical body. They don't have the genetic mutations that have taken place to a bringer of change that receives higher information. And they have basically been sucked in to this portal, the ones that are not choosing. So if you're here, you're obviously not in the portal because this portal is a whirlwind. So there is a portal, which is like a parallel dimension, a different reality that has been opened up. And it is a temporary opening that is creating a forced purification. So, what that looks like is basically you could coexist with me and someone else that is in a completely different dimensional experience that is swirling around. Now, I woke up in this portal because I tried to get somebody out of it in my dream state. And so I've been in portals like this. And what happens is when you hop into the portal, you start to spin. The energy rotates, it shifts, it's moving, it's spiraling, it's transmuting. And what it does is it's bringing in the higher frequencies and it's also bringing up all of the densities. And so you're moving through waves of higher consciousness whilst you're also meeting the densities of all the distortions that are sitting within you. And so you're in this whirlwind of cosmic connection with an opportunity to either consciously choose to step out of this through conscious choice in that. And that it's very hard to make a conscious choice in this much frequency because you are the brothers and sisters that are in this space cannot see up from down. They cannot see in from out. They're literally in a place where everything starts to dissolve, and the knowing of what is real and what is not, and the connection to the true self, but also to all of the distortion, all coexist at once. Now, this is extremely scary. This is a mass awakening opportunity that is being forced upon these beings as a way to say, Are you going to surrender? Or are you going to consciously choose to step out of this and do the role that you came here to do? Now, the surrender point is where the purification takes place in a surrender to the higher frequencies, and it will be a mass purification of the Holy Trinity, and the Holy Grail can be anchored and reclaimed. And that's basically getting to a point where this individual has nothing left to fight in separation consciousness and comes out as a Christos being. Now, that's pretty radical and pretty drastic, and quite a confusing experience, because coming out of that level of purification requires a lot of support to integrate into this experience. That's a lot of frequency that is all of a sudden being felt in the physical body, and there is a I don't know who I am and what the fuck just happened to me. And it's an identity crisis. And so there are going to be beings that will go through this in this surrender to the purification. And then there are also going to be beings that consciously choose, actually, I don't want to do it this way. This is too much. And I'm going to step out of this portal or this different reality, and I'm going to make the choices wherever I'm at to line myself up to my highest path. And then there will be the beings that choose dissension. And what that means is when you're choosing dissension, you're like, actually, no, I'm not fucking doing it. I don't want to. It's too hard. I don't want to be here. They're going to exit this planet. And so they will be what's the word you would like me to use then? They will be exiting the human experience through some form of physical release. They don't use the words that we use. And so this release is what some have considered the mass exodus, where you see a whole lot of souls leaving the planet to assist. Now, that means that the bringers of change that are staying will be either choosing, and they're lining up through the turbulence of the awakening, or they're going to be in a mass purified state and they have to stabilize. And this is where you can have walk-ins and different energies coming through. And so this is going to be a drastic shift, but it's the shift that's needed for the physical of the ripple effect of the earth. So this portal that is open for an indefinite time is if we see it and how that correlates to the earth's matter, this is where the purification takes place of the earth. And so we are now starting to, and I do want to, for anyone who saw the prophetic vision by me and Sophia, I was like, I am not getting back on a social media platform until there's proof. And I went through my own challenge of showing back up, because I was like, there was no tsunami. You told me there was going to be a tsunami in the Philippines, and there's no tsunami. And the answer was, wait, you didn't hear it properly. You didn't listen. Which is often a message. If you have highly guided information, you don't ask enough clarity or questions. And what happens is that you receive it how your human would like to receive it, because your human's pretty limited in its receivability, and it doesn't seem to zoom out enough. Here's a message and it concludes. So I had concluded that whatever date, and that I can no longer remember, which was last Friday at, I believe it was 6:05 possibly, that there would be a rotational shift in the chakra of the solar plexus, in which I was live and my body did vibrate at exactly that time, and I felt a shift, that I had assumed that there would be a tsunami within a period of time, but it was just the process of the energetic realignment. It was the process of the transformation. And it was also the awareness that things are shifting, changing, and moving. The chakra has started to move along the ley lines, and that there are electronic currents, and there currently are weather systems that are showing this. And yet, what we believe to be an instant manifestation in this reality of what we are being guided is that we manipulate time. And when we hear a message, we often go, okay, so this is the time, and we actually stop it through our own unconscious or our own fear. And so we don't allow these timelines to play out in the way that they are being guided, because our conscious choice wants to ensure that people don't die. Our conscious choice doesn't want to see destruction. Our conscious choice has to move through our own purification to come to acceptance. And so for me, I had a big hold that I actually intentionally put on the path forward. So I would like to apologize to all the beings that I take full accountability that I held up the timeline because I didn't want to see an aspect of myself in relation to that, and I put a bit of a well, I do. I use sorcery quite often, um, unconsciously, uh, and I take accountability and I release the sorcery when I do it, because I am not completely in full divine trust of the divine plan yet. I still have my aspects that are moving through, as we all do. But that is the difference. It's seeing it, it's being in the place of my shadow's here. I need to take accountability and responsibility for my shadow, and also the effect and the massive ripple effect each and every one of you has on this planet and these timelines and how this looks. And so we can either meet ourselves and surrender to the transformational process, or we can keep resisting, we can keep blaming, we can keep projecting and keep choosing separation. Um, and so the acceleration of the shift of the earth cannot happen until this choice point of the bringers of change go into their own purification and what they're choosing, so that the energetic manifestation of what they are holding, so they're either choosing purification, they're either choosing dissension, or they are consciously choosing, actually, I'm going to do it a little bit more easily and gracefully in my own time because that's a bit much. And that, the result of that is the manifestation of what the next part of this earth frequency shift is going to look like, and how drastic that is in relation to the devastation of the beings leaving, the ones staying, and the path that we walk together hand in hand. So this has a warning sign. The warning sign is for those that have already chosen, that are walking this path, that are receiving this, and that are aware. You may already know people and beings that are in this. I know several, and they have completely disappeared from the quantum field. You can actually feel that they're in a different reality right now. I cannot sense them. It's like they're not on this planet. They're actually in this vortex because they are in a different reality right now. And so you might not feel them. So people that you are twin flames, or, if you're in a divine union relationship and one of you's choosing and one of you isn't, they've just disappeared. They're not here. They're gone. And what's taking place is that for us that are choosing, for the ones that are lucky enough to be on this call because you're not lost in a whirlwind, that you are being asked to stay in your pillar. You are not to rescue. You are not to try and heal. You are not to interfere with the process. You are not to interfere with sovereign choice at this point. You cannot maneuver, manipulate. You must sit and watch and choose your own creation path. That there is no space for meddling. If there is any meddling taking place, that you will also be placed in a consequential action. And so this is where polarity and what is taking place, because you are conscious, you are present, you are here, you have free will. So you actually receive a very karmic retaliation when you are aware, when you are conscious, when you are present, when you have that evolved expression. You are sovereign, and so you cannot out of your own fear do something because you don't want to watch someone fall or hurt or leave, right? So this is a very, very important initiation for those that are choosing to stand in your truth, to not distort or manipulate the consciousness of the planet, and to trust the divine plan, to fully trust and allow for that to unfold. So, for the rescuers, the healers, the ones that like to pull everyone out of the mud, it's time to see your own shadow and to allow yourself to choose the light, to walk forward and to not get distracted, to not waver, and to stay in your pillar. All right. I love you, beautiful beings. I am being guided to get some sunshine to purify in the oceans. So please listen to your inner guidance. If you receive a lot from these transmissions, from this receiving these oracle aspects, please support my mission by donating to my PayPal link. That would be amazing. And please share this information. Share, like, I love. It's actually really beautiful to be on live and see all the different comments. um, I am absolutely going to be reading through these, and it's really nice to feel you present here in live time. And if you are needing some support in relation to truly staying, you've chosen, but you feel like you're still wavering and you might be on multiple timelines and you want to solidify and anchor your highest timeline, get an insight into the fullness of your soul's energy blueprint and bring that into solidification so that you can walk unwavering, please reach out. I do have space and capacity for those that are in full choice of the highest divinest timeline. So if I don't respond, it's because I'm prioritizing and I'm choosing that which has the most influence on the entire collective. But I will get back to you if it is for the highest good of all beings. If it is not, then I don't put my energy and my presence there. That's a part of my discipline in choosing the path forward. All right. I love you. Mwah. Have an amazing day.